You just want to leave work 'cause you're lazy.
Rada?
You heard me. Lazy.
Rada, 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 rada.
Rada.
Bad. Rada, rada, rada.
You take the damn moon and you take the fucking sun. Strap into your seats and prepare yourselves for a review of the other cartoon, part of the Renaissance age, Chowder.
It just so happens that I'm quite a Casanova when it comes to the ladies, if you know what I mean.
No, not really.
Yep, sometimes I gotta beat the ladies off with a stick. Back, woman! Back, I said!
Rada, 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 ra-a-da. This person right here is the GOAT, C.H. Greenblatt. But just call him Carl. Carl was born in Plano, Texas, where he pursued a career in advertising at the University of Texas at Austin. After college, he went on to make comic strips for Ad Age magazine and moved to New York. He soon came to realize that making 30-second TV ads wasn't the career that would make him ultimately happy. So out of random, he grabbed an animation magazine one day that had a Help Wanted ad for Nickelodeon in it. And he thought, well, why not? So he sent them his creations, and within a 4-month time frame, he was hired as a freelance character designer there, that they ended up not even using ideas from. But hey, he still got paid. But during his time at Nick, soon-to-be legend Stephen Hillenburg hit him up after seeing his work and offered him a role to be a storyboard revisionist on the upcoming show SpongeBob SquarePants, which basically started his major role in animation from there. Now here's where the juicy bits begin. People started to realize how funny Greenblatt actually was when helping out for the show. So they went ahead and gave him a writer's role for seasons 2 and 3, which is arguably the best seasons of SpongeBob. And if you don't believe me, let me swing a couple episodes at you that he did. Band Geeks, Krusty Krab training video. Boom, done. There's a whole lot of other gems he's done as well, but I've picked these two to mention because they're the most quotable to this day. Anyway, after serving his time as SpongeBob from 1999 to 2005, and also having his own episode no less, he went on to work with Maxwell Adams at Cartoon Network for his shows Evil Con Carne and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy in 2003, where he wrote notable episodes like Attack of the Clowns and The Secret Snake Club. He also worked on the short-lived show The X's. But while working on other people's creations, he was also working on his own, making doodles for a concept of a show he's had in mind ever since working on SpongeBob. So he pitched it to Cartoon Network one day in 2004, and they sat on it unresponsive for 2 years before finally giving him the green light in 2006, and production started from then on there. The show he pitched was named Chowder, after the same name of the main character, and it dealt with him and his apprentice chef having a business together, with Chowder usually fucking shit up. Cartoon Network was under the impression that it would be a recipe of the week type show, which would be too bland for what they were looking for at the time, but Carl assured them that it was something different. The pilot for the show is actually the first episode of the series, which is a brilliant change of pace for the last couple of shows I've been reviewing, having no production footage at all. Anyways, the show debuted on November 2nd, 2007, and it had promos throughout the month prior to get us ready for the wacky food-filled adventures. And now, we've made it to the fun part, the review, which I'm going to base off of production, main plot, and nostalgia, because I don't know any other way to structure these videos. So let's go ahead and eat our way into the production. Now, production for Chowder is quite revolutionary. Well, at least for the more modern age of cartoons, it'll most certainly go down on the list for cartoons that done changed the game. But let me explain why though. Well, first of course, the characters. What do you guys notice about Chowder? What the fuck is a Chowder? Well, he's a fusion of a bear, bunny, and cat, but regardless, he's still cute, and that's the premise of his design, to look like a lovable character despite his imperfections. Carl created this universe of creatures with foods for names held up by a god. His creativity knows no bounds. But what will always amaze me to this day is the use of static backgrounds and the characters moving alongside it. For example, Chowder's shirt, Truffle's dress, Mung's pants, Schnitzel's body. It's honestly incredible, and if you don't understand the process, let me break it down for you. Okay, so let's say I have a design, and then I have my character, but I want to make the character's shirt the design. So I cut a hole where his shirt was and get a background to cover up the access, and boom, make a move, and it looks like magic. Carl was crazy for this one. I know he got the concept from other shows that did it, but he made it so common in the show that it gave out the vibe that it was supposed to be there. It became second nature even though it was admittedly different. Actually, his use of multimedia access in general was pretty awesome. Stop motion for transitions, puppets for awareness, stylized stop motion for simple bits, and lots of other ways as well. Other than that aspect, the characters are unique, the watercolor backgrounds draws more attention to the characters, and the music is constantly played on the church organ by ska band The Upbeat, so you can really feel the energy within every scene. And oh my god, the sound design is fucking perfect. Every time they move, every time they blink, every time they just stand still, the scene is never empty because there's little sound effects for everything. Voice acting in the show has reminded us that kids can voice kids too, instead of just these two all the time. Nikki Jones and Liliana Mumi did a fantastic job portraying Chowder and Panini, considering the fact that Carl casted these kids knowing damn well that they could hit puberty at any moment. That just tells you the drive it took to make this show as lovable as possible. Adventure Time and Steven Universe both started off with kid voice actors too, and had to adapt the characters around the actors' voice cracks.
But you guys can't watch this time. It'll mess up my funky flow.
Come on, Connie. Let's take it from the top.
But the rest of the cast is solid, but that's no question judging from Cartoon Network standards. Matt Murdock from the A-Team voices Mung Daal. The woman who voices everything voices Truffles.
I'm gonna do my impression of Truffles from Chowder. It's gonna be really loud. I'm gonna scream, because that's the only way I can do it. 3, 2, 1.
What is all the yelling about?
Eat your heart out, Terra Strong, you bitch. I love you.
John DiMaggio voices Schnitzel. However, Kevin Richardson voiced him in the pilot. Not that that fucking mattered, I mean, he only said one fucking thing. That lady who plays the teacher in every live action show voices Endive. Dana Schneider voices Gaspacho. Pee Wee Herman voices Ruben, which is probably the reason he declined voicing Flapjack. George Takei voices Mr. Fugu's assistant, and Chestnut is voiced by the nigga who says, "Wow." And that's all the notables. Production for Chowder in general is a masterpiece. They put in so much effort for the visuals that writing is just a bonus at that point, which says a lot due to it being a visual gag show at times. Anyway, I for certain took the aspect for granted when I was younger, and yet it still made me laugh without really paying attention to the structure, like a cartoon is supposed to do. Production for Chowder gets a 10 out of 10, which branches up into our main plot. If you asked a kid at the time that Chowder was released what it was about, they'll probably shrug their shoulders and say, "I don't know, but it's funny." And you honestly can't argue with that statement. However, there is a structure to this show. The main plot to Chowder is summarized like this. Tanuki Sumaria wants to become a master chef, so he's taken up by the guidance of Mung Daal, owner of a catering company, along with his wife Truffles and his assistant Schnitzel. And they do the task of making these odd-wingding recipes while trying to teach Chowder how to be a great chef. And upon hearing that makes you think that it's a wacky recipe every week, and in most cases it is. But the show mainly revolves around Chowder. The other main characters get their own individual episodes as well, sometimes without Chowder in it at all, which is a common gripe of mine with cartoons nowadays. Now Chowder as a character is pretty annoying. He's basically just a little chubby autistic kid who loves to help. It's like those guys whose job it is to greet you at the doors of a supermarket. They think they're helping, and that's all that matters. I want to compare him to SpongeBob, you know, a cute lovable character who gets on people's nerves, but SpongeBob has some redeeming qualities. He's good at his job, while Chowder eats a lot. Well, at least he's cute, I guess. So yeah, Chowder isn't all that good of a character. However, most of the shit that he does keeps the show interesting. Like episodes like this, where if he talks, he sets everything on fire. An easily avoidable task that he chose not to follow because he's fucking retarded. You know what? Talking about this kid more and more is making me hate him. Not as much as Blue, but I say they're neck and neck. Besides the lovable oaf, every other character has an individual charm to them as well. Mung Daal being a father figure to Chowder, being the best damn chef he can be, and hitting on ladies all the time, despite him being married to his loudmouth wife, Truffles. She's loud. Well, Chowder is loud too, but this is just her default tone, so it's passable. She basically keeps the place up and running while the guys fuck around. And let's not forget about Schnitzel, the rock monster help of the company. His personality is as chill as it comes, making him the most realistic and relatable character of the show. I wouldn't say he's an ice bear, because ice bear can get weird. Schnitzel just puts up with all this bullshit just for a paycheck, and that statement alone should make some heads nod in agreement. Now the supporting cast is what makes the show thrive. Endive and Panini alone most definitely. Endive is the rival of Mung Daal, and every time they butt heads, expect some insults. While Panini, her apprentice, is in love with her rival, Chowder, who's not really feeling that, which is usually stated in one of the show's main catchphrases.
I'm not your boyfriend!
Overall, this show is just riddled with comedy gold. The fourth wall breaks don't ruin the episode's plot because they're not forced. Hell, it feels like it's supposed to be there at times. Carl realized, wait a minute, this is a cartoon. I could do anything. And that's the mentality you're supposed to go with regarding shows like this. Main plot for Chowder gets a 9 out of 10, which brings us right into the nostalgia. Chowder isn't overrated or underrated. It just came out at the wrong time. Chowder's original run was from November 2nd, 2007 to August 7th, 2010. And during that 3 years it was on, we had to tunnel through various stacks of bullcrap to get to it. This was around the time people were making videos like, whatever happened to the old Cartoon Network? Bring back Cole Lyoko, and shit like that. So most people were blind to the fact that we had two juggernauts in the midst of the fire. And the fact that internet memes of the shows are just now surfacing proves my point. I take pride in being able to watch Chowder as a kid leaving elementary school. I had enough knowledge to comprehend the jokes, and I had enough stupidity to just enjoy it as a cartoon. And if watching a fuck schedule is the penalty to see it, so be it. I need to go outside and play anyway. My bear friend, however, may have a bigger stance on this though, because he adores this show.
Let me tell you one thing straight. I'm gonna tell you one thing straight, and you'll never forget it for the rest of your life, because if you do, I'll beat your ass to kingdom come. Chowder is the greatest cartoon ever made in the history of time period. No other cartoon will ever come close to beating Chowder, because Chowder is possibly godlike. The Lord himself blessed the hand of C.H. Greenblatt when he wrote and produced the show. That's how fucking amazing Chowder is. The characters are funny. The humor is some of the wittiest shit you'll ever see in a cartoon. In most shows ever, the fourth wall breaking is always good and never intrusive, and always feels in place. Fuck you, bucket hats for life. Go watch that. Vote for your local Congress.
Like I said, Carl did it to him with this one, and him ending it the way he did, where all the characters getting older, tells you that he's proud of what he's made and wants to leave it at that.
No reboots.
Nostalgia for Chowder gets a 9 out of 10, which concludes the review, Negro. Greenblatt has been a busy bee as of late, moving on to direct shows like Fish Hooks, helping out with movies like Sponge Out of Water, and creating another show in 2015 called Harvey Beaks. But that's another tale for another time. Carl has basically taught us all that nerds are funny too. So let them sit by you and lunch sometime. They might say something that might cause you to piss yourself. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to become GM of my D&D game, and look out for new videos coming down the line. This has been D-Dubman of Review Your Life, and this video is sponsored by Channel Frederator. See ya!